Yes. First, update us on the strike. What's happening as far as the strike is concerned?
Well, the strike is still continuing. We are in discussions, as you indicated, with the workers that are on strike, and one of the unions that has organizational rights. We believe that SACAO will also be joining those discussions. We are talking about the disparities, and indeed there are some disparities, but those are individual cases that we have agreed to address. But the biggest issue for us, Vuyo, which we have always lamented over the years, is the fact that we continue throughout the organization, especially in the lowest levels, to be below the market in terms of the salaries that we offer. Of course, the
Below
fact that
the market.
below the market in some of those. Well, when you look at the full cost to company, we're probably not far off in some cases, but when we benchmark ourselves against similar industry, which is other government entities, we continue to find ourselves in some areas to be wanting.
So why don't you address that?
Well, we continue to address it, Vuyo, but it's not fast enough because, one, we are committed to not spending more than 55% on HR, whereas other institutions don't have the same agreement with government. They can spend up to 80%. And also there is the decline in grant that comes to us, which means we are forever dependent on a fluctuating tourism market, which means that, whenever we make decisions to deal with some of these shortfalls, we are unable to fully implement those.
So
but we
revenue
continue to do
is
that.
not rising. I mean, the business, in terms of revenue, in terms of profitability, are you saying it's not doing well?
It's not rising enough, Vuyo. It is. We are definitely doing better than some tourism players in the country, but it is not rising enough for us to be able to address all these issues as quickly as we would want to do.
What about operational efficiencies, though? Are there no areas that you look at, and perhaps that have been looked at, to say, savings in these areas could then enable you to improve on the other side?
We have definitely done that in the last 2 years, Vuyo. We have cut costs in a number of areas, and that has assisted us actually to even fill in vacancies that we had not been able to fill in for a very long time. The chief executive has said under no certain circumstances should we even consider retrenching people, because for us to be able to address these, the most drastic measure would have to be retrenchment. And as SANParks, we are definitely not prepared to look at that. So we are looking at efficiencies, as you indicate, and we are also looking at increasing our revenue in any area that we possibly can.
So no end in sight to the strike, would you say, as we sit here and converse
As we sit here, they have not indicated that they are willing to come back. There's been a few individuals that have decided to come back to work, but the majority of the members have not indicated when they'll be coming back.
Talk a little bit about the poaching. I mean, now the arrest of personnel inside the park, people who work at the park. First, was this something you suspected as Kruger National Park, to say some of the work is actually being enabled by people on the inside?
Well, Vuyo, you can never ever rule out inside connections whenever there's crime involved, and it's always something that is on our radar screen. We never expected it to be on this scale. As you indicated, you said 2. In actual fact, it is 4, Vuyo. 2 of them are field guides in the Kruger National Park. One is a field ranger that was supposed to be on strike when he was supposedly suspected of poaching in the park, and another one is a traffic cop. So 4 people on the same day being arrested in suspicion of rhino poaching is something that is really devastating
on
to
the payroll
organization.
of SANParks.
On the payroll of SANParks. These are SANParks employees, yes.
Yeah. How are you addressing that? I mean, how are you dealing with those kinds of elements and trying finally, permanently, to root out those kinds of people?
Well, we continue to investigate, Vuyo, and those people, if they are found guilty indeed, they are going to be out of the organization, because we cannot have such people being entrusted with such a responsibility. So that is what is happening at the moment. Our investigators are also, focusing a lot on the organization to see how far this has gone, because if we can be able to arrest people who are suspects in 1 day, 4 people in 1 day, that means then we have a really big problem. And it is quite embarrassing for the organization and the country to have conservation officials being arrested in relation to such a big crime.
Yeah, in dealing with the syndicates, in dealing with the outside facilitators, what is being done? What steps are being taken?
Well, we work very closely with the Hawks. As you indicated, the Hawks released the statistics as well. We work very closely with them. We work very closely with the military because we understand that this is more than just an environmental crime. It goes far beyond what we can deal with as a conservation agency, as a rangers, which is why then the hawks are involved. Looking at the organized crime, because it's very easy to arrest people on the ground, but they're the people that are feeding the poaching market. And those people, for every 2 people that you are arresting, there's probably 2 more that are waiting in line to come in. So that is what we are working on. We have been able to infiltrate some of these levels, but we have still haven't managed to get enough of these people. And this is where we need the public to assist us, because some of these people, they're probably your neighbors for you. You never know. And if you see people that are acting in a suspicious fashion, you need to tell the police so that we can be able to arrest these people and be able to put a lead on this scourge in our country.
Are you losing this battle as SANParks?
I wouldn't say so for you, but definitely we are worried. Right now. We're definitely worried because the numbers continue to grow. But what has been quite good news in the previous year is that we have increased the number of people that we've arrested. Also, in terms of the percentage increase year on year, we have managed to reduce that.
We've run out of time. How many rhino remain at the Kruger Park now?
Well, we still have about 12,000 rhinos maximum in the Kruger National Park. Is the population seriously under threat
from this particular scourge?
Well, it is under threat, but seriously under threat would mean that we might start talking about extinction, which is not the case at the moment. But smaller populations are definitely in trouble.
All right. Thank you very much. Wanda Mkuchulwa is the head communications at SANParks, joining us this morning talking about the strike at Kruger Park as well as rhino poaching there.